Good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to day 20 of the WSOP and to the fourth annual WSOP and All Vegas Poker Daily Spaces coverage. I'm Sherry Pluskota, and I am coming to you from Georgia, where it's hotter than hell right now. Please be reminded that we will always try to give the most updated and accurate information possible, but we are human and information is always fluid in the poker world. Please make sure that you double check any information we provide to ensure yourself the best experience possible. And please correct us if we're wrong. We want to get it right. Thank you. Be reminded you can find the recordings of all my past spaces and interviews on my YouTube channel at Sherry Pluskota 9212. Ongoing charity fundraiser, the poker t-shirt quilt to feed the homeless in Las Vegas through the Poker Gives charity. It's coming down to the wire, folks. It's going to be raffled off in 2 weeks from yesterday on the 27th at the WSOP. A tax-deductible donation via the designated link will get you a chance to win the quilt. A $10 donation will get you one ticket. A $25 donation will get you 5 tickets and your chance or chances to win this one-of-a-kind autographed poker t-shirt quilt. I'm going to tell you, it's pretty awesome if I say so myself. The whole project has turned out even better than I could ever imagine. A reminder, on Monday, Erin Baroni will be with us. And then on Thursday, Nikki Lima will join us for an interview. Both of those days should be fun-filled as well as the rest of them. Be reminded that the photo contest ends tomorrow at noon. Yes, I'll be giving out a hint during this broadcast at some point that may help you over the hump with some of those pictures that you're trying to identify. So we'll give a hint out here shortly. That contest ends at noon tomorrow. And of course, 3 winners will get a chance to win some money on ACR through those tickets that you'll get for winning that contest. And I'm going to tell you, not one person has submitted a submission yet. So guess what? At this point, any 3 people are probably going to win, right? Because there's no submissions yet. And I have a sneaky suspicion that some folks are going to wait to the last minute, but that just may be a sneaky suspicion. Also, if you're planning to come to the meetup game, which is June 26th at 2 o'clock at the Bellagio Room, thanks to Sean McCormick and Craig Larson, that's 2 o'clock on the 26th. Pizza will be provided. It is a cash game. If you plan on coming and you want to join us for dinner afterward, usually a group of us go, just give me a DM so I can put you on the list. I did make a reservation for us yesterday, which I'm not going to broadcast on air because, the trolls of spaces do weird things when they know about reservations. So once you let me know you're going to attend, I will give you the restaurant information. So if you want to go out for dinner with us, let me know. If you've already let me know, I already have you on the list. So no worries. We'll get you that information. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked for a minute. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just trying to read something while I was right in the middle of that. I got a message from somebody. Okay, I got the message. Thank you to the person that sent that to me. Team Spacers moved up to 832nd position out of the 1,202 teams, thanks to Benny Glazer, who took home second place and 91 points for us, ASG. What about that?
What about it?
It's putting us in a predicament. It's like, okay, if y'all can all get the lead out, we could get in the top 100. But if not, then just let us be in last place, please. Oh, how you doing, ASG?
Yeah, I think we're drawing dead for last place.
I know. It's like, all right, either like shit the bed or get off the pot. Is that a saying? No, but it will make it one today. Um, yeah. How you doing, Joey?
I'm awesome. Good morning, Sherry. Or good afternoon there.
Um, yeah, just barely afternoon. No worries, buddy. No worries. I think we're gonna get you a little bit early, Joey, because I'm gonna send an invite to Katie Stone to see if she can join us. She has some strong views on, PatchGate at the WSOP as well as Cabrillo and his antics. And um, I love Katie. We always have a great conversation. I think you guys will enjoy her as well. For those that haven't been around when I've interviewed her. An awesome gal. So I'm going to get you a few minutes early if that's okay, Joe.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to just hand it over to you, Joey. Take it away. Thank you.
Okay, so this morning we're going to speak about studying away from the table. And so I was, all for the past like 2 weeks, I, as I walk the hallways of WSOP, and all of us, when we do walk the hallways, or any tournament actually, we always hear it's like a broken record. We hear that a player who just busted, either walking with another player or on the phone with another player or a coach or somebody they know, and just going through the hand and that busted them or the hand that crippled them, and with all this emotion. And it's like the same, this conversation you hear, and it's like it's the bad beat story, right? And it's like, now I'm not saying that we shouldn't talk through hands, but when emotions are flaring, is that really the time to learn from it? Because are we really even listening at that point? So this is what something I wrote in the 30-Day Poker Coach book. If the only time you are thinking seriously about poker is while cards are in the air and your emotions are involved, your growth is going to be slower and more expensive than it needs to be. Playing gives you experience. Studying turns experience into wisdom. A lot of players love to say they have been playing for years, as if years automatically equal improvement. They do not. Plenty of people have 10 years of repetition and 1 year of real learning. If you keep making the same mistakes in slightly different clothes, time alone does not save you. Study is where poker gets honest. It is where you go back through the hands without adrenaline, without ego defending itself in the moment, and without emotional charge that clouds your judgment during play. It is where you can ask, what was I really doing here? What range was I representing? Why did I choose that size? What was I afraid of? What did I miss? And study can take many forms, like we're talking about hand reviews, for instance. Also notes, solver work, a tournament push-fold spots, range construction, discussing hands with strong players, reviewing emotional mistakes, replaying sessions in a journal. You do not need to become a robot or a lab coat, but you do need a habit of reflection. A poker journal is one of the most underrated tools there is. Write down the weird hands, the emotional moments, the calls you regret, the bluffs that felt forced, the spots where you froze. And I promise you, patterns will start to show themselves. Maybe you get reckless when tired. Maybe you underbluff against weak, tight players. Maybe you miss value because you hate getting check raised. Study helps your leaks stop hiding. And technical skills matter, yes, but studying yourself matters the most. You can know good strategy and still fail because your emotions, fatigue, or self-image keep interfering. Many players did not need more information as much as they need more self-awareness. A studied player enters sessions with more grounded confidence, not fake swagger, just real preparation. And preparation makes uncertainty feel cleaner. Hope is not a strategy, but reflection is. So if you don't have a poker journal, I'll paint a picture of what you're really, really missing out on now, especially that we have AI. So, and if you do have a poker journal, I'm going to explain how you could use your poker journal and AI to really find situations and spots that maybe even an expert reading your journal may have missed. So, listen, when we're at the table, we're not always on live stream, right? Our hand histories, what's going on, are not always something that we could remember. So it's just a really, really great habit that we should always pick up from the pros that have been doing it much longer than us, to have a little notebook in your pocket, a small baby one. And, or just if you want to use your phone, but I won't suggest a phone because there are situations where you can't take out your phone. Or if you're at a final table somewhere or something, phones may not be allowed. There's no replacement for a pencil or little pen and a little journal, tiny, and just write down those notes. One of my favorite books was Gus Hansen's Every Hand Revealed, which is basically a journal from start to finish of every hand he played when he won the Aussie Millions. And that's was really my inspiration years ago about, man, I need to start a journal. Now, Gus used a little hand recorder. Like you could still buy those, so you could just put the recorder app on your phone if a phone is allowed. But still, it's just something about physically writing down your hand histories. Now, if you write down enough of the information, how was I feeling at this point? Was I on tilt? And it's not just the hand histories. It's what was I feeling? What was I thinking? What we're looking for is this. We're looking for patterns where we are exploitable. And it's very, very difficult for us to know where we're exploitable, because if we knew it, we would not be exploitable, right? Like what we're looking for is what we don't know. Now, what's really cool is that you can take photos of every page in your journal, upload it to any AI agent, and whether it be Chat, GPT, Copilot, it doesn't matter, and say, this is my poker journal. Please analyze. Please look for patterns. Please, these are the prompts you write. Anything you could think of that can improve. Please help me improve my game. Please let me know where I'm exploitable. And you'll receive back like 4 or 5 pages of analysis that will blow your mind. You will be like, what is going on? I did not even realize this. Because what it really comes down to is that those spots where we lose, it's because we were side-blinded, right? We didn't see it coming. Because had we seen it coming, we could have folded, we could have done something differently. And that's what we're really looking for. We're looking to patch up the leaks that we have where the universe, our players, the game itself totally takes us by surprise. Because that's when we lose the most chips. That's when we get busted, is when we are hit by something that our conscious minds had no idea. And sometimes it's just when I've done this with people's journals, and sometimes the AI will come back and say, well, it's pretty clear that this person fell into a pattern where this works, and automatically now we think, well, it's going to work again, and that's when we get hit, because people know that we fall into patterns and they exploit that. But the journaling is so important. Any sport, it doesn't matter if it's poker, it doesn't matter what it is. It's 90% prep work, 10% performance. Yet, right now here in Vegas, there are 90% of the players are just playing and didn't prepare. So this is an edge that we can all give ourselves if we do the homework. And it takes time. So it's not like you're just going to sit down now in Vegas and start journaling and all of a sudden you're going to have the answers. But if you do this month after month, week after week, month after month, year after year, uh, the details get better and better, and all the leaks get patched up one by one until there's no more left. And that's the ultimate goal, you know? So that is our lesson for today.
Great lesson, Joey.
Thank you so
Great
much.
lesson. Great lesson. And what are you going to teach us tomorrow?
Tomorrow we are going to something that we are all guilty of. Beware of autopilot. And we all know who autopilot is, right?
I love it. And tell us, when is the last chance to get that free downloaded copy of your book, Poker Dance?
Today, right now, the link is going in. This is it. Last chance to get a free copy, your Kindle version. I will put the link in the comments right now, and that's it. And then no
Perfect.
more free.
Perfect. And thank you for doing that for our audience, Joey. Appreciate that. It's been free since Wednesday.
Right.
For anybody that's been listening, you could download that copy of Poker Dance, which is the book Joey wrote, one of the books he wrote, for your enjoyment. So thanks, Joe. Appreciate you
got
and
it,
your
sir.
lesson today. Tracy, quick question. How are you, first of all?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing well, thank you. I just wanted to touch base with you. Are you planning to go to the ladies' weekend in London in October?
Yes, if I'm lucky enough to win the package, for sure, I will
Okay.
go. Yes,
Perfect.
I just message you back. I'm not
Perfect.
super familiar with the X, so
It's okay.
it's
No
taken me a
worries.
minute to kind of figure it
No,
out. So
no worries. No worries at all. I
okay,
just wanted to double check because I just want to make sure somebody uses it, right? So
correct.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm going to make a post today about how many tickets were won on Friday, and a reminder to everybody, if you want your chance to win that London Hippodrome Casino London, England poker package, you'll have another chance to win 3 tickets this coming Friday by listening to the space. It's very easy. And then you can also get additional 10 tickets if you attend and play at the meetup games. So very easy. Very easy way to get into the drawing for that $300. I know, not $300, 300 pound ticket into the ladies event, as well as a ticket into their boot camp and the supper that follows. I believe that's about a 40 pound value as well. No airfare and no lodging involved. It's just purely a poker package. But hey, indeed something to go after if you can, get there and enjoy it. So I'm glad. I'm happy to
absolutely.
hear that, Tracy.
Thank you.
Katie, you're welcome. Katie, do me a favor and hit that request button in the bottom left corner. We've had a lot of issues with spaces, and it's just far easier to bring you up as a speaker if you hit that microphone button in the bottom, or the request button in the bottom left corner. For sure. Ooh, y'all, I'm tired today. I'm having a hard time getting the motor running today. Got up early, actually went and took a little nap, got back up at 11, I don't know, 11:30 or something. Yeah, I'm having a brutal day this morning, but
Those
it's
are some
okay.
heavy prizes.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Those are some heavy prizes.
Yeah,
300 pounds, 40 pounds.
yeah.
Cute.
Hey,
Saw what you did there. That's cute.
yeah, he's a funny guy. Hey, Katie Stone, how are you?
Hey, good morning. How are you guys?
Doing good, thank you. This is Katie Stone. I'm just going to give a wee bit of an introduction for those that may not have caught the interview I've done with her in the past. Katie was once a sponsored pro for BorgataPoker.com and played online for a living. She is the co-founder of USA Chess, was a longtime radio show producer and a learned WPT instructor, as well as a producer over at the WPT. Katie is the president of the board of directors of the Houston Restaurant Weeks. And through carrying on her mom, Cleverly Stone's legacy, Katie keeps the food pantries of Houston, Texas filled through her restaurant weeks. She continues to promote getting more women involved with poker by hosting events at her local poker room, the Champions Club in Houston. So glad to see you again, my friend.
Oh my goodness, that was so nice of you, Sherry. Thank you.
Absolutely. You know, I love what you do in life, and I'm always impressed because you always have something new you're doing on top of all the stuff you already do, and you are definitely something to inspire to. And you know, Houston is lucky to have you, Kate.
Oh, well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate
A-
that. You're making me tear
Absolutely.
up.
Well, absolutely. And recently, if you guys don't follow Katie, of course, you should follow her and everyone else that's in this space on Twitter and social media. Um, Katie's had some, pretty strong comments about some recent things going on in the poker world. And she knows I love it. I'm like, hey, you want to come on and talk about it? She's like, yes, ping me. So first, let's talk about PatchGate at the WSOP. Let my listeners know how you feel about these new rules and regs about patches at the WSOP, please.
Well, I think it's just a really good example of why and how poker continues to stay in a smaller niche industry and why it struggles to kind of break out and have that mass appeal and the larger audience that everyone thinks is possible. When you reduce yourselves as a worldwide brand to something like, checking people at the door to see what kind of logo they're wearing, um, and it would be different if you were charging them admission to get inside of the building, but there's no admission to get in the building. They're optionally playing a poker tournament, and they're a customer, so they have choices, meaning they can go down the street and play that poker tournament at
Right?
a competing business. And so um, it's just a very glaring example of the mindset. And in my view, really just the overall incorrect strategy when they're zooming out and looking at all the pieces on the board. They're moving the pieces very incorrectly, in my opinion. And I move pieces like this in my job at scale as they do with numbers and broadcast numbers and millions of dollars and millions of people affected. So I'm not talking out of my ass. This is what I do every single day of my life.
Absolutely.
And so it's my brain, I went to college for chess and then became a very successful poker player for 20 years. My brain has a history of taking data in and accumulating it so that it makes a better picture. That's how I learn. That's always how I've learned. I've always learned a little bit differently, but I've always been able to identify patterns really well. And so when I zoom out and I look at all of the players in this game, broadcast partners, which we share a broadcast partner now. ESPN is new a broadcast is a new broadcast partner for WSOP. ESPN is my broadcast partner here in Houston, so we
Right?
we share that. We do not share a television broadcaster. My TV partner is Fox. I don't know if they have well, ESPN is their TV, but I don't think they have radio. But when I zoom out and I look at all the pieces in play, you have social media, you have content production, you have on the ground production, you have Korean production across the world, you have ESPN, you have YouTube, you have streaming, you have commentators, you have executive producers, you have people on the floor getting the content, meaning shooting, taking photos, photographers, people interviewing if that's happening this year, and they're not all working together. So the content that the people on the floor are shooting, meaning the photographers or the social media, like when WSOP, Twitter, X shoots Martin spewing off because he's upset about something, you know, is that really the directive from Korean production? Is that the directive from boots on the ground production in Vegas? Is there an overall strategy, a marketing strategy, a social media distribution strategy? Each platform has its own strategy for content. You can't just paste the same kind of content across all of your platforms. Is that happening? I'm sure it's happening, but the dissemination and the implementation is getting really screwed up because we still continue to see things happening like PatchGate, and we still continue to see things like social media covering Martin when we zoom out, no, that would not be a part of a high level strategic plan for the 2 months of this festival that is the most important marketing opportunity that exists for the brand once a year. Like that's the other thing, is that they have X amount of days, as do I. You have X amount of days when your platform is live at its peak, when the most eyes are on it. And every single day has to be belovedly and cherishly planned out for every single platform. And it's really hard, you guys. Like, based on the production I see this year, which is what, like 10 live tables or whatever, like, they're going in the right direction. They're almost there. But there's a lot of this other stuff that is not filtering down correctly and really will compound in the effect of the traffic, of the fans, of the growth of the game. And they're neglecting that part so atrociously. It's like they're driving a train blindly at 100 miles an hour through the Himalayan mountains around the curves, and they're just like, oh no, we'll be fine. Like, we'll be fine. That's what's happening right now. And it's just not good. And when I see all of these things, all these pieces in play not aligning, it just kind of pisses me off, because they're not willing to address these very basic and root issues that exist that need to change.
And don't you
Um,
think a lot of that is just because there's been a change at the helm and different people doing different jobs now? Like, I know last year Poker Goes, we all could tell that last year Goes production was to get Martin in positions to make content, put him on the live feed tables, make sure there's always a camera around him. I mean, it was clear as day that they wanted the content. And then all of a sudden, when the content started crossing the line, then Martin gets called down, and everybody's, even me, I'm like, wait a minute. He was kind of set up by Poker Go's need or want for his content, right? And now he's getting in trouble for pushing the envelope. Now, this year, I agree with you. It's, to me, and I mentioned this yesterday, it seems like one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. And I also think part of that problem is because production is in South Korea and they need to be at the WSOP, my personal opinion. What do you think about that?
well, yeah, I mean, let me address the Korean production crew, and then let me also address your very important point about, the reverse, right? So
Right.
they wanted to cover him. Number one, let's discuss, why did they want to cover him? Number one, at the root, they're desperate for content. They're desperate for new characters,
Right.
and they're so deep in the tank. Like if I didn't mean to go. I wasn't trying to go hard yesterday at Jeff Platt and Stapes. I was just trying to be as very factual as I could. But like you're so deep in the tank that you don't see it. That you don't see how detrimental he's a new player repellent. That's what I named him this morning on Twitter. He's a new
Yes.
player repellent. And they are so deep in the tank and so desperate for any kind of click getting content that's new, because what's happened is poker has evolved. The public perception of poker has evolved to become so difficult and unappealing and unattractive for the casual, the optional viewer, because most of the commentating is so laden with solvers. Most of the sponsors, with the exception of the last week and this Solana, whatever the hell that is, that's a whole other thing, is mostly solver
Right.
sponsored. So as
Right.
soon as a new viewer, as soon as an optional viewer, as soon as a casual viewer tunes in, what are they faced with? Oh, they're faced with this really, weird software they've never heard of. That, wait, I just wanted to play a game for fun, Texas Hold'em with my friends. I think it's really cool. And now you're telling me I got to get a fucking software to compete and be with these guys. And then I turn the stream on and all they're talking about is ranges and merges and caps and this and that. And what the hell?
Blocker and blockers,
Like,
and
like, like,
don't
I'm
say the dollar amount. Just use
no.
big blinds in your language, and yeah.
And I'm just trying to like be cool and have and have a fun night with my friends, And
Right.
so this is I've said this for years, that poker as a product is not ready for worldwide consumption, and it is because of this. And I am of the belief that it could be. Most people believe that poker is not for everyone. I disagree. I think it is for everyone. I even think it's for kids. I think it is so much for everyone, men, women. I even think it's for kids. I think it's a great learning tool. I think it should be in schools. So the idea that
That's where you and I are going to differ. But go ahead.
this is how far it goes, is people are, they're so locked in to one aspect of poker, and it's kind of locked everything in place. And once you zoom out and you see how all of these pieces are not working together like they could, it's just frustrating for me.
Rightfully so. You have the background. You see it. I mean, we even see it, as casual viewers, so to speak, or even more than casual viewers. They're missing the mark. And I think, some of why it's not flying with a lot of people is they are missing the mark. They missed some opportunities in the last week, like covering Alan Kessler at the final table of the
Oh, wow.
tournament he was at last week to win his very first bracelet, and there was no coverage of that table.
Wow.
There was also a time, I'm not familiar, I don't know if you're familiar with Mike Holtz and Maurice Hawkins, but there is a lot of tension between the two of them, and they ended up at a table together. No coverage of that. And so missed opportunities, and those are the stories that fans really want to watch. Like I tried to tune in because I'm thinking, oh, surely that's going to be on the coverage. And it wasn't. And
Well,
huge missed opportunities.
yeah, I mean, here, and this may be a little area, Sherry, where you and I disagree, and I should clarify my poker in the schools. I don't mean that kids should be gambling. I just mean the math behind the trading and the betting is what's useful.
Well, and for
Um,
me, it's like we can teach them other card games.
right, right.
And then when they
But
get older, they can graduate into poker. So that's where I'm at
exactly.
with that. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. Like with my son, like what it is it's percentages with my son. He's 10. So we don't talk about poker with him, but we talk about, okay, if something is going to happen 10% of the time, how often is that going to happen, right? And
Right.
so, and these are the concepts that we teach him, that like his little friends in fourth grade, like they have no idea what the hell he's talking about. And I'm like, this is a very basic concept in poker that it helps you teach and is very transient into other areas of your life.
Absolutely.
Is that, and so it's like, why would this not be good for kids? And so that's what I mean, Sherry, is I'm not
Yep.
trying to get kids to go in the casino. I hate
Oh,
casinos.
I know you're not, but there's never going to be a day that I think we should be teaching kids poker. I do think we should have our kids playing cards, and that starts with Go Fish, Rummy, Crazy Eights, Canasta, Spades, Pinochle. All those card games are great for the brain, using math skills. And guess what? When they get older, you introduce that poker game. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree
Because,
totally.
yeah, because of we've seen what gambling addiction does to so many. And, I think there's a right age to teach gambling. And for me, teach card games 100%. My kids were playing cards at a very young age, and they still play cards to today in their old age, so to speak. And I'm with you.
Yeah.
Definitely teach them kids cards.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. And I think it's also just a great social experiment and
Yes.
learning opportunity for the kids. And that's my other big piece of it, is just the social learning that they extract from
Yes.
like playing the game together, being competitive. It for me, that's almost more important than the math part. But anyway, the other piece that we may slightly disagree about is the Maurice coverage. I mean, at this point in my life, I am at the mindset with these pseudo poker media sites and organizations and companies, right? And I say pseudo 100% accurately, right? Because it's just we're not pulling real journalists, professionals from the
Well,
outside world and
and
putting
they're
them in
paid by
here.
they're paid by the ones they're reporting on. So
Right.
yes.
So this also dictates a lot of the poor decisions that have been made. I like the fact that even though it may have been a story with Mike and Maurice heads up, and I have followed that a little bit, I'm just of the mindset, like, just get him off our radar. Like, Maurice is not a positive. Yes, I understand that he has the most circuit rings of all time. Who cares? The circuit rings are so devalued at this point. Like, it's not anything interesting anymore to win a circuit ring, much less a bracelet, in my opinion. There's so many of them. It's not something that holds the aspirations on a mass scale that it once did. So if they want to, lean into that aspect, like, oh, he's the most winningest of all time, who cares? Nobody really cares anymore. That's what I would say to that. Second, he is not a positive view or an attractive view of the game of poker because of his behavior. And it's my belief and my understanding so intimately of what the production and the broadcast time costs and how much work goes in to every precious minute of a broadcast. So if I'm running things there and I'm saying this is what we're covering, and we don't even know, Sherry, who is right. Like, let's talk about the Korean production. If I'm moving all the pieces there, I would not allot any of my precious airtime towards something that overall makes my industry look bad because of behavior that a new or a casual or an optional viewer is watching, and that may deter him or her from going to the local casino or coming to the World Series of Poker. Because if they think that they're going to have to sit next to an asshole cheater.
Yeah, but he has to be continually exposed. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a person that believes in the.
Not on the most precious and worldwide stage when the most casual and new and optional eyes are. No,
There's always,
definitely not.
yeah, but I'm going to tell you, I'm going to interrupt you for a minute. And if we're going to cover the news of poker, we got to cover all the news, the good, the bad, the ugly. And to try to hide it or cancel it
It's not hiding
because
it. It's not hiding it.
Because of whatever I don't agree with.
But it's
And
not the news.
I feel,
But
I
it's not the
feel,
news, Sherry. This is a
but
private
it's about,
production.
yeah, but it's about clicks.
This is an event.
It's about clicks.
I
They're
know, but
looking for clicks. And I'm telling
Sherry,
you, in
but
my opinion, I'm not saying that I always agree with it, that they're looking for clicks. But in my opinion, if you want those clicks, you missed opportunities by not having Kessler and not having Holtz and Maurice on
I
a feed
agree.
center.
I agree about Kessler, but the World Series of Poker and GG Poker, they are not a news organization. They are not an objective journalist. They are a for-profit event company,
Right.
gambling company.
Right.
So they are under no obligation to present anything fairly or objectively or equally. It is a private company. They can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Right.
So
But
so
I'm still going to
so
say to you, if you're after those clicks to promote that company, you missed an opportunity
I
by not
agree.
having those folks covered.
I agree. They missed an opportunity with coverage like Alan Kessler. But here's the thing, Sherry. I don't even think that this is planned, meaning this wasn't like in their original strategy. Here's an example when I
Of
mean
course
plan.
not.
Like
Yeah.
this is an example. Here's what I'm doing right now in my life. Which is why I don't play poker anymore, because my World Series takes place at the same time as the Poker World Series. So my overall strategic marketing team creates an overarching strategy that covers broadcast media, social media, print media, media sponsors, everything like that. And then from there, the production team follows what that strategy is. From there, the TV broadcast team follows. The PR team follows. The radio broadcast team follows. The social media team follows. And I follow, right? Like this is how many, it's like an octopus. There's all these tentacles. And at the top is where this would appear or not appear, right? So it would say at the very, very top, it would say, under no circumstances are we to cover Maurice Hawkins, with the exception of a congratulatory bracelet win or, typical event chip counts or updates, like Maurice Hawkins, knocks somebody out to take the chip lead, that kind of thing. Like
Right.
affording him the regular coverage that a player would get, but not affording him the coverage of what has made him an evil villain, his attitude, his behavior, like the very bare minimum and the same thing goes for Martin. Like if Martin wins a bracelet, I'm not saying you exclude him from coverage, but yesterday's WSOP post about Martin getting pissed off because Alex Foxen did something or whatever. And here's the thing, Sherry, like Martin's reactions are getting to the point where it's dangerous. This is my opinion, because the cameras lean into him so much. He's mentally, psychologically, there's something like we need to be careful. He's the kind of guy that could go off, allow the attention, allow the coverage, allow whatever back and forth doesn't exist finally happen, something bad could happen.
And I agree. And I think that, um, a lot of things affect a person mentally and physically in the social media realm. And we do need to be good stewards of that and be conscientious of that if we are in the production part of what we're doing here. I'm going to move on over to ASG. Your hand's been up. I know it's tired. Go ahead, ASG.
I mean, don't you think it's, at least in some realm, part of the reason why Martin is covered so much? Because all they want to cover is the 25Ks, the 50Ks, the 100K no limit, and he is part of the small player pool of those tournaments.
Yeah, for sure. But within those player pools, even there are just better choices. They have more choices, and because this is an event, it's a proprietary holding of trademarks, of event management, of history, of legacy, of branding, of names, of I mean, there's so much in the WSOP history that should be nurtured and cherished and really handled with the utmost of kid gloves. And I don't say this lightly, but I understand this from such a root level because it is what I inherited a brand like this from my mother. And I have many people that help me do this. I don't do it on my own, but I understand how difficult it is, even at my scale. I'm only in one city, running the one of the most economically impactful events that affects the city, the third largest city in the United States. There's more money in the World Series, but we're on TV every day, we're on radio every day, we're in the newspapers every day. We're generating $80 million in revenue in 1 month. So it's not out of line for me to be able to say these pieces are not matching up because I'm small. I'm one person at the controls. They've got Korea, and we don't even understand who is like really at the controls, Sherry, right?
No,
Like,
I
is
agree.
it
No, I agree.
it
As
it
a matter of fact, the other night when I heard them say, I think it was Jeff or somebody say, it goes to South Korea. I was like, wait, how did South Korea to get into this production? But I also wonder, as you guys are chatting, is Martin just an easy way to get coverage? You have lots of other people in those same tournaments, big names in those same tournaments, like or even newbies that are coming up in the world of poker. Why aren't we doing those stories? Like what happened to
so
researching, the oldest person there, whatever
so
you know,
here's what I posted something on X earlier in the summer, and it's like these people are allergic to good ideas.
this is
So
true.
so I one of the really great things that's happened since in 2026 is because humanity has changed, because everything has changed. I personally, for example, do not have to hire humans anymore from a local player pool. I can hire people from Poker Now who have broadcasting experience, tech experience, because they are LLM friendly. They do understand what happened in January of this year. Um, the
Uh-oh, you shut your microphone up. Uh-oh, she must have got a phone call.
So I
Uh-oh.
wanted to like, because what I was trying to say there, and it has to do with kind of also these people is and lumping groups together is WSOP previously sold their broadcasting rights to Poker Go and now have sold it to what's this HCL company? I keep forgetting their name. The like big giant
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway, the point is, it's not even though it's a WSOP channel, it's not WSOP or
Correct.
poker that really makes these decisions. And you made a point of like having Mike and Maurice at a table. Maybe they just didn't get there quick enough because they weren't sure how long they were going to be at the table or like that kind of thing. But what I was trying to say is like clearly now, especially even more so than Poker Go, I think they're just going for whatever tables will get the most views. And you can't deny that Martin and his tables, especially if you're going to be broadcasting these high limit, no limit, high roller, whatever, are going to get more views than any other table at that event, and all they care about is views because they're a private company. The same way that like nobody cares about poker overall of these companies because they only care about themselves.
So sorry, my phone died. I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry,
No,
no, but
no problem.
but
We're
this
used to
was
it. But go ahead.
this was exactly what ASG, that kind of really exactly like what I was saying earlier. I had suggested, and this is why I was saying I can hire from poker. They can too, because it's such a great hiring environment, right? So I suggested you build, for example, with all of these incredible, tools that we have. And I planned to do it after the event. I plan to do a kind of just like a one event analysis to see what content they missed and what content they produced. And I was going to, I'll do one event. I was going to take the $500, the very first event, and show what you can build to find all of these people who you've never heard of or who are here in the country for the first time, and maybe they've got a really big
Special
following
interest stories. That's what
in
I'm, yep,
in India, for example. So like
yep.
I was looking through the day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, flights of that $500 event, because I thought it was a really good event to do my comparative analysis over in September or October when I can breathe, because it had such a big field. And I was seeing, for example, I was running my own. I built it already, my own analysis of who is in the field. And so what it built for me is, who the hell are these people? Like, it literally scanned the internet. Are they a banker? Are they a housewife? Are they a CEO? Are they a nonprofit executive? Are they a radio show host? Are they an influencer? Do they have a really cool thing? Well, I found in that history, in that build out, that there was a lot of Indian players, big social media followings, that were ending with like really big chip counts. And I don't know, and they didn't cover day 1 though. Now, I don't know if any of these Indian players, for example, made it to day 2 or 3 when Poker News started the coverage, or WSOP started the coverage, or whoever or whatever. But if any of those, for example, and this is just one output that I looked
Right.
at quickly, if any of those Indian players with those huge followings in Indian poker communities did not make it into the updates, this is a very clear loss,
I
right?
agree.
And
Yep.
and
Absolutely my point.
why do you want to cover Indian players with big social media followings? Because you are literally leveraging their following to
Of
become
course.
your followers.
Of course.
And that is what the game is, right?
Of
And
course.
it doesn't seem like these pieces are all working together. And the fact that here's another really, and I don't even care. Like, I used to be friends with Jeff and Stapes and whatever, and I'm sure they hate me now because I'm so blunt. But guess what? I've been in real time broadcast, hosting my own show, radio, television, number 7, number 6 market in the United States for the last 6 years. Like, you don't think I've learned a thing or two? Like I manage my whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not about me. You can Google it. But the fact that I even created the view for them, and the fact that they're so allergic. Like, does anyone watch MLB live? So like, if you have MLB live, it's a quad view. There's 4 screens on your television screen, or whatever the hell, your computer screen. Okay, and you're watching 4 games at the same time,
Right.
and the screen, and it changes sometimes. Like, one game ends and then it's only 3 screens, and then but it's only one audio per, and like whatever audio, whatever screen, whatever game has audio is a red border that thick that gets thick around that screen, so you know, even if you have it on mute, you know what screen to follow for audio, right?
Right.
And I created that for the WSOP this year. I tweeted it. I said, "Hey, Jeff, is there any way you could do this? Because you have all these tables now." And I didn't say this, but all I said was, "Hey, Jeff, can you do this?" Because, and here's my reasoning, I see everybody complaining about the coverage. I see everybody complaining how they're not getting to one table and all this other stuff is happening and this and that. Well, we find out now that it's because Korea needs 2 fucking hours of pre-production. They're out of their minds to have agreed to this at the World Series of Poker. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, and
But
I
but
can't help but thinking that it's the time from when they took over to when they had to go live. Like they're just in a hurry. Like
but
they,
hold on, Sherry. I create this quad screen view and I
right?
say, "Jeff, can you do this?" And do you know what his response is?
No.
His response is probably, but for what? Like you seriously can't understand why something like this would be useful in the environment that you've created. You've created a much better production environment, but with that, you have not created the proper implementation and distribution environment. I deal with this shit every fucking day of my life. Like,
And you're right. And I get it. And I'm just going to tell you, I think it still goes back to you have all these new people in place, new companies in place, and they just haven't had a time frame to put all the pieces together. So they're kind
correct,
of flying by the
correct,
seat of their pants this year.
100%, 100%.
And I think next year it's going to be a whole different
No,
ball
100%.
game for sure.
My point is they are, but the thing
Are
is
they open minded? Is your
both
point?
state exactly. Both Stapes and Jeff, I used to like them. Look, I'm 20 fucking years in this industry. There's not many other women who won more millions of dollars, especially in online. Like Jesus Christ. You know, like they used to be good, but they are so in the tank now, they can't even respond to a good idea because they're resentful of who it comes from. And maybe whatever, maybe I sound like this. Okay, but it's because these things are so fucking obvious. Y'all calm the fuck on.
Well, and you're coming with the experience and knowledge base to provide that information. And that can't just be, thrown to the wayside either.
No,
Like you're
no,
just not
that
coming up with a harebrained idea. You're
no.
coming up with ideas because of your experience, not only in the field,
Right.
but in poker and, and in many fields. And
Well,
so,
yeah. I mean, I was a consultant, a high level
right,
consultant directly to the number one at MGM, BetMGM in the early regulated days because I just got lucky and being at the right place at the right time. I've done commentary for WPT. I've done show production. I produced my mom's radio
right.
show from the time that I was a kid because she was the most famous radio host and TV host here in Houston. Like I grew up with a star of a mother before social media existed. So I've it's in my blood to understand how this shit works. Like I
Well, not
couldn't
only
I
that,
couldn't
but
go
you,
somewhere in Houston without being recognized because of my mother in 1990 fucking 4.
right. And that should not be falling to the wayside at all.
No, no.
And you come to them with the ideas to help them because you are passionate about the world of poker. And so any kind of ill feelings toward you coming to them with an idea they should just think about that for a minute.
Thank you.
I'm gonna get to Joey. I know his hand's tired from being up. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, so I'm just going to tell you from observation what I've seen. And it's not that the crowds are following the cameras are following the crowds. So, and it's just like when we turn the news on and the negative news is everywhere, or if a building's burning down, the crowds come out. I've been railing this now for 5 years in a row, and I could tell you every single year, before the cameras arrive, the largest rails have been around Martin. They've been around Maurice Hawkins. They've been around Tony G. They've been around, when he was around, they were around the villains. and then the cameras show up, because if it's something that's drawing live people to a table, it must be newsworthy. This is what the cameras are thinking. That means viewers may want to see this who are not in the arena. But this is human nature. It's not that they're just giving Martin the spotlight. It's like they're in competition with each other. So if one news entity doesn't go and put a camera on this, somebody else will. And that's what I've been noticing, is that the crowds are forming. I mean, you can go over there right now, and it's not necessarily nosebleed. Martin plays 300, 600-hour events, and he still has a huge, huge rail way before the cameras arrive. So it's human nature. People are being drawn to the villains, and
But
then the
see,
cameras are being drawn.
and then here's what happens. His behavior, it's inferred that the behavior is accepted and reported, and or encouraged even, and people begin to copy the behavior. People begin to expect the behavior. I mean, how many comments on X, on Twitter, are about the fact that he is really terrible to play with, and he's interesting to watch, but he would never want to play with them. Think about that, you guys, for a second. Does that add up? Like in the long in the game, does that add up?
Well, in my book, it does.
No.
I'll tell you why. In order for us to have the superheroes who are the best for the game, we have to have the opposite. There has to be, if there's a hero, there must be the equal villain. That's the way the universe works, doesn't it? You're always going to have the extreme opposite of the best. So it's going to coexist. It just can't. The universe cannot function without it coexisting.
Point well made. We can't forget about the yin and yangs of life. I'm going to let Brandon go ahead, Brandon.
As Katie, as somebody that watches the MLB Live that you're talking about almost daily with 4 screens, that's a great idea for poker, because there's a lot of time in poker broadcasts where there's not really a hand going on. So switch the audio to a table where there is something going on, and you can switch the audio around, but you could still keep track of it. Watching it on 4 screens, and I think that's a great idea. I don't know why they wouldn't go with something like that.
Well, thank you. Can you go to my Twitter account and just like retweet that damn thing and be like, why are you guys ignoring this? And that's my point, is because they're pissed that it's coming from me, because they're resentful, they're jealous, whatever the fuck. I don't care. Like, I have the data, I have the numbers, I know what I can do, I know what I do every year, I know what my history is. Like, I don't give a fuck what they think. Like, look me up online. Like, it's I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And the fact that they don't even acknowledge the idea or say, oh yeah, like, it's a great idea. Guess what? Do you know what MLB Live, Brandon, does for me? I'm not like a huge like baseball TV watcher. My husband is in the fucking fantasy baseball, daily fantasy, so he's super into it. But guess what? It's interesting enough for me, even like a daily fantasy player's wife, and we spend time together watching that, because it moves around enough for me. It's not stagnant, it's not boring. Like you said, like, baseball can be really slow to watch. And so it's an interesting enough where the commentators have a new story to talk about every 30 seconds, or there's a new foul ball, or there's a new cute baby on the screen, or there's a new puppy on a screen. Like, it's way more interesting to attract a casual viewer, or an occasional viewer, or the optional viewer. Y'all love to torpedo me for using that term, but it is the absolutely correct term to apply to the worldwide audience of poker players. They are optional. They are not casual. They are not recreational, because that already implies allegiance or loyalty. We do not have that. We don't have the luxury of having that, like golf or NFL or NBA. You don't have that.
I agree. And I'm going to tell you, I sometimes think they take the easy way out because they would have to do research to, like you said, you put it into AI, you came up with some folks from India that would probably be fun to follow and find out more about. And why didn't we do some special interest stories about them and highlight them? And quite honestly, maybe time. There's not enough hours in their time, hours in their day because of, like I said before, everything's new,
Yeah,
everybody's got new
but
jobs.
look at that guy who was responding. He's a reporter.
Yeah,
There was a reporter responding to me,
yeah,
Sherry,
yeah.
saying,
Oh, I'm with you.
I'll never use AI." I'm like, "Bro, do you understand what?" He's like, "You got to be in person. You got to get the real stories." I'm like, "Bro, did you read what I wrote? Like, I would fire somebody who worked for me if this was your interpretation of what I just wrote. Like, use the AI to find the
To lead you,
context."
to lead you, to lead you, not to replace you,
Because
to lead
listen,
you.
let me tell you something, Sherry. One of the main things and problems that I had when I was a team pro for Party Poker US, BetMGM, Borgata for 5 years, we had some of the biggest live fields we did have the biggest live fields at Borgata. This is talking
Right,
about pre-COVID, okay?
right,
We
right,
had the record-breaking WPT every single year. Our $1 million openers, there was not a bigger multi-day flight in the country that existed. Talking about Borgata Poker when Tab was running it in the good old days, okay?
right,
One of our for BetMGM Online, for Borgata Poker Online, we were so strong in the SATs. Like, that was the reason why we broke so many records, because our SATI program online was so fucking strong. And it was me, Gags, and Buzzgon. And we put so many SATs at such a great schedule that it got so many satellite winners in the main events. And I know that y'all know, y'all don't need me to explain what that means. Well,
right.
guess what the problem became? We had so many people, we didn't know who the fuck anybody was. So guess what? Huge strategies became, not only with PR and marketing at my direction. Look, we're bringing so many new people to poker. We're bringing so many new players to Borgata. We're record breaking numbers. Let's tell their stories. Like, let's make a beeline. Let's set up an interview. Like, you have to do these things because that's how you find these new people. But none of this is happening, Sherry. And
Right.
that's
And
why I
part of it,
understand at such a
right,
root level why it
right.
is so hard to find the stories in these massive fields, because it was my fucking job.
Well, and I get it. And I totally agree. And we have to be reminded that, the Poker Go folks had a library of information on players that they could say, oh, he's in on this table or she's on this table. And they would go to their library and gather their information, the data they already have on that person to present that special interest story, right? And now they don't have that. I don't think because that's how it appears. It appears as this year we don't have that access to that database, and we need to. We need to have those special interest stories because we don't want to just watch boring hands and then there's a great hand every 4 hours. Those, other 3 hours and 50 minutes, we want those special interest stories to entertain us. So, yeah, I see big changes next year and I'm willing to be patient enough for it, but we have to do it by embracing everybody's ideas and not being too proud to say, hey, it was their idea and not ours. For sure. Go ahead, Brandon.
So I went to Katie's Twitter page to retweet like the thing she was talking about, and there's not a better example right now of a special interest story than that guy Freddie from Germany that she retweeted. I don't know if you guys know, not to derail the poker conversation, but this guy that came from Germany and is like experiencing American things for the first time. There's got to be a guy like that in a low little 1500 bird or
Yes.
something. They got to find a guy like that to follow, and it's really going to attract attention.
100%. And that's the other thing. Like, the thing that I built can scan Twitter and can scan for updates like this too. So that's how you find these people who don't have a following, who aren't known, who may not know that they've got to download an app to update their counts with Poker News, if you still have to do that. They may not know. I mean,
Right.
the amount of times that I had conversations with reporters and editors of these pseudo journalist poker sites, explaining to them that this is how it's like a wall, because it requires so much work, and it's what real journalism is and what it
Right.
requires. And they don't have that experience. They don't have that context to draw from. And like, not many people in poker do. Not many people in poker broadcasting do.
I agree. For the listeners, if you want to come up and make a comment or ask Katie some questions, you're more than welcome to request the microphone in the bottom left corner of your screen, and we will be happy to entertain any questions or comments. And I'm going to take a minute right now. So if you have pencil and paper ready, folks, for those of you that are going to enter the photo contest, about to give you the hint, and you may want to write it down. I'm only saying it once, but be reminded this is a recorded space. So here is your hint for the photo contest. If you grab a towel and snoop around, you can till too many in the pick by the White Sox. That's the end of your hint, folks. So hope you wrote it down fast. I try to go slow, but it is recorded. So good luck, and don't forget those entries have to be in by noon tomorrow, so you have a chance of winning one of those 3 ACR tickets. So thank you for that. I want to ask my panelist, Tracy, do you have any questions or comments for Katie? And she may have walked away from her phone. Joey, any other questions or comments for Katie? Okay, thumbs up if you guys can hear me. Now I'm concerned you can't hear me.
Okay,
Oh, you
here
can.
we go.
Okay. Oh,
Sorry.
there's Joey. All right. No worries. No worries. You guys know it's just we have to double check IT sometimes. Joey, you have any questions or
Yeah, and
comments?
Katie, I totally feel your frustration as a writer. I feel the same frustration when I put primetime news on and they save the best, really worked out, most important human interest stories to the end because we have to hear all of the negative news first. And there's just one movie that comes to mind. You remember Happy Gilmore? It's like what he did to like, and I know it was fictional, but like here's a serious event, golf, and there are these people that have been in that world in that movie their entire life, and they had to sit there and just deal with the frustration of when a fad comes along and draws these easy stories to write, the stories that write themselves that have no human interest, but yet they get all of the, well, now they get all the likes and all of the attention because there's no journalism involved with that. The story's writing itself and the crowds are there. So I appreciate you, Katie, for wanting to dig deeper and put some beef back into journalism. And let's really, really learn about, I mean, there's such a huge player pool and there's so many great stories out there, but it's just so hard for us to really know about them.
Love that. Love that. Okay, Brandon, questions or comments
Same thing.
before we?
Same thing that Joey just said. Like I was saying, I don't know if you know about the social media guy Freddie that's traveled from Germany for the World
I
Cup,
do.
and
Yeah, I don't.
he's like a social media sensation. Like JJ Watt bought him a hotel room because Germany's playing in Houston, so he's like,
I love it.
DM me and I'll pay for your hotel. Like a lot of famous people are really buying into it, and you can't tell me that there's not someone out there that is playing in a WSOP tournament that could be the same exact thing.
Well, and
And
we normally hear those stories, Cody Daniels. I can't see, I mean, um, a terminally ill person getting to play the main event and getting to sit on, Ellen Keating Stack at a cash game and doing well. And, we've heard of the gentleman from Florida, I can't think of his name, who got to go to play in his first main event at age 99 or 100 last year or the year before. And there have been lots of human interest stories and those special stories coming out of the WSOP. And we're definitely missing that boat this year
Yeah.
for sure.
And can I just say something, Sherry?
Yeah, go right ahead.
So, like, the other way I think to think about this is truly from a poker perspective, right? Like, the object in poker is to win the most chips, right? So, the object of what we're doing as an industry or what we're doing as a journalism company or as a poker site or whatever should be to gain the most followers and the most loyalty and the most interest, right? And so how do you do that? Do you think that you have better chances of doing that by only showing something that would appeal to a narrow audience like Martin? Like, we can already see that it's very split on the appreciation of him versus
Right,
it's very polar, right? It's like either you love him or hate him, kind of. I don't know that there's
right.
really anything in the middle. And in my opinion, that is too big of a gamble. Like, we're coin flipping for the conversion of our most powerful asset, which is the viewer, because the viewer converts into a player and a player converts into somebody who contributes to the environment and helps the game keep growing. Why are we settling for a coin flip? We don't need to settle for a coin flip, right? But everyone who currently is in the control booths and everyone who is pointing and deciding whether or not they are or whether or not it's a product of just a broken system, and maybe Jeff and Stapes do have a good view, but the Korean producers in Korea don't implement, or the people on the floor, the photographers and the reporters don't implement, and so they just get fucked. We have no idea, right?
Right.
And
Yeah, we
so
don't know.
we don't, and they're not gonna admit it to us, right? They're not gonna tell us exactly how it's working.
Right.
But
And nor should they, because, those are internal
no, but
conversations
the
and
fact is they can do better than a coin flip. Like, look at their day 2 coverage. Somebody please go back and look at my tweet from day 2. They were covering Maurice Hawkins at a table doing the stupidest bullshit that's not interesting, like jumping up from his seat, from his 3 seat, going to the 6 seat to compare like Uber food delivery ratings. Y'all, who the fuck cares? And you know what, Sherry, I put the most honest tweet out I've ever put out. I said, you know what? It is day 2 of the World Series of Poker. There is nothing to report on. Like, I'm being very sarcastic, obviously. There's absolutely nothing to report
I
on,
love you so much.
right? And
Oh, I love you.
this is what they've come up with on day fucking 2 of the World Series. Now, I'm not jumping to conclusions. I'm not like Stapes loves to say, Stapes actually loves to say, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. Here's the thing. Who controls that post? Somebody had to, the person behind the camera had to either have the authority to make that decision to shoot it or not. Okay. Now, what's the process from getting that content edited and with the description? Because
Right.
oftentimes that's
Right.
not the same person. Sometimes it is.
Right.
All right. Now that has to go through another set of eyes. Okay. Then it has to get on the website because, again, oftentimes that's not the same person, but sometimes it is. Okay. Let's say that it's not. Now we have potentially another set of eyes. So that's 3 versus 1 set of eyes is our potential path. Okay. And it's still happening. Like, there's potentially 3 or 4 people that are agreeing that, yes, this is day 2 content of our flagship event that has the most viewers of all year. It's the most viewed event of our brand. And this is what we're choosing to put on day 2. Or, which is really fucked up and so bad, Or it's even more fucked up and so bad that it's that one singular person who has that control.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, nobody cares what Stapes thinks, just for the record. So
Well,
don't be so upset about that
no,
situation.
and I'm not, because I understand he doesn't know, and most people don't know. Like I could sound like a very arrogant person, but the fact is I'm a woman who's been successful in men's games my entire life, and I happen to speak very directly, and a lot of people just can't take that. Has nothing to do with being arrogant
Amen.
or not. You've known me for
Amen.
over 20 years, Sherry. You've known me since I was a kid, literally. So
Yeah, don't worry about it. You know, all you can do is make sure you approach things in life with a good heart and the right intentions, and the rest always works out. And if people can't see that for themselves, it's their problem, not yours. Someone else's opinion of you is none of your business, Katie. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that.
Katie made
Go ahead.
such a good tweet about let's continue to cover Martin Cabral and his antics instead of, like, again, we're going back to the human interest story. This guy that, it's a fictional person, I'm sure, Katie, but a random guy that won an entrance into a WSOP tournament in a bar league in El Paso. Those are the guys you need to follow to get
Absolutely.
new players and new viewers. And of course, us poker nerds are going to watch the $250,000 tournament, but to get new viewers, who wants to watch a bunch of fucking robots play for a high roller event when you can?
Well, the guy from El Paso is somebody everybody can relate to,
Exactly, and
especially the casual, the rec player, the new
the
player.
everyman, right? Yes,
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
yeah, for sure. For
and
sure.
also think about the guy from El Paso's experience as he is being taped with black masking tape on probably his first World Series experience of his life.
So nuts. It's
Like,
so
like
crazy.
it just think about the customer experience. And that's what I mean when I say they're all bass backwards in the way they're thinking about things. They're so in the tank, they're only thinking about what is going to attract the poker players of today. They're not thinking about, hold on, I need to attract everyone in the world. So that guy from El Paso, he's gotten on a plane, he's told his friends, he's probably in a text message group if he has a
Right.
phone that texts whatever, like
Yeah.
he has his own little following. And when he has that experience is the most contains the most goodwill. That's the experience that has the highest conversion. That is the experience that has the highest ROI. In a negative, it's totally a negative conversion, because then he goes back to El Paso and he tells his friends, those motherfuckers, those are a bunch of assholes. And guess why? Because they are. And guess why? And I use El Paso specifically because it's Texas. And Texas is a very hospitable state. And there would never be anything like that would happen. Think about if you go to a PGA tour event, and let's say you buy tickets to go be a spectator at the PGA tour. You're buying tickets to go
Right.
be there, and somebody comes up to you and slaps a black piece of masking tape over your hat or your water bottle. What kind of experience does that leave you with as the customer? Are you happy with PGA? Are you likely to tell your friends what a great experience you had at PGA? Did it cost you a lot of money to go to PGA? Did you have to take a weekend off of work? Did you have to reschedule something? Did you miss something that your kid was doing? And you went to the PGA event for your very first time, and the first thing security did was made you put a masking tape over your brand new $85 cap that you paid for, getting excited to go on this trip. Same exact thing with WSOP. And that's what I meant by in the very first thing I was saying on this call, it's a very clear reflection of the WSOP people and the whole production either working very separately, like 20 different arms separate from one another. Nobody knows what anybody's fucking doing, or the overall mentality is just incorrect and very junior varsity and very carnival, like fireman's fair type kind of thing,
Right.
like.
And I'm going to say, when you think about the guy from El Paso, so to speak, you also have to remember when somebody is so turned off by their experience, I mean, he's in a state that has lots of poker. He never has to go to the WSOP as long as he lives because there's enough poker to play in Texas. So, you may be turning him off for a lifetime. So, you have to take that into consideration. You want that person to have the best experience possible. So they want to come every year to the WSOP, not make it so impossible that they're like, why would I go there? Like it's insulting me. That the experience was just insulting to me and the clothing I wear and whatever else, right? And we don't want that to be the experience.
I
We
mean,
Yeah.
don't.
And
I,
do we think that player is going to come back?
Yeah,
No,
likely not.
they're not going to come
Likely not.
back. And if at the root level you are not playing for a repeat visit in poker, that translates to more chips, right?
All
In
right.
in gaming, hospitality, restaurant, that's what this industry is. So gaming is hospitality, just so you know. Gaming is the same industry as the hospitality industry.
Absolutely.
The the
Absolutely.
hospitality industry is our nation's largest public sector employment. So about 11% of the nation works in hospitality. Y'all are all poker players, so you know what that means. 11 out of every 100 people you know works in either a restaurant or a bar or the back office or marketing or event planning or front of the house or sales or whatever. That is a huge fucking portion of human beings, right? That's a
Yep.
lot.
That is a
Listen,
lot.
I'll tell you what, Sherry, and I know that this is recorded, and I don't even fucking care. I've already pitched for the WSOP to move to Texas now. The whole thing. I've already had a conversation with him. He just bought Caesars.
I love you so
I
much. You
already
better
I already
find me.
talked to him about
Look,
it.
you better find me a job when that happens. Just during the WSOP, not for. I don't want to live there 12 months of the year,
Listen,
but I would come and help you for that, girlfriend.
listen. This man owns the largest entertainment, hospitality, gaming company in the world now with the acquisition
Yeah.
of Caesars and he has Landry's and the Rockets and Golden Nugget and just everything.
Right.
And I'm like, look, like bring the game back to the birthplace. I know what he's building here. I know what like this. So I've pitched pretty strong. That's already we'll see if he listens.
a, a total
Holy smokes. Go ahead,
a
Brent.
total separate conversation, but you know, it would be nice if somebody would buy some of these bigger Caesars. You know, the guy that bought Caesars, maybe bring old Vegas back instead of treating it like you only care about your shareholders. You know, because they're a publicly owned company, and just being so cheap about fucking every goddamn thing they could possibly, anything they could do to save a dollar. You know, and it turns you off from going to Vegas. Like I don't. A lot of people have said I'm not going because it just. You know, I used to go because I get a free buffet or I get this or I get that. Now, I go to my hotel room and I have to pay $9 for a fucking bottle of water. Like we gotta do better than that.
Yeah, it's after COVID, they really the total rewards and whatever rewards for whatever casinos, they've all changed. And they're, you know, Caesar properties are probably the best example. You barely get anything for, spending thousands of dollars gambling every year. You used to be able to get a free meal and free hotels, and you still get things, but it's not as good as it used to be for sure. So I get your
Yeah,
point,
like I
Brandon.
was Diamond for 2 years, and used to have the Diamond Lounge where you could go in and it was
Right.
great. And now they've closed the Diamond Lounge after COVID, and they just give you 4 free drink tickets instead.
Yeah.
So you know how much money you have to gamble to fucking make Diamond, like, and oh, here's your 4 free drink tickets. The lounge was great. Like you get unlimited drinks, food, like all kinds of stuff. It was great.
Yeah, I do miss the diamond lounges and whatever, properties, MGM, Caesars, the stations, anybody that brings that back, that kind of diamond lounge thing back to life, they're going to get a lot of new gamblers come to their properties. I'm just going to tell you, because a lot of people miss the diamond lounges. If for nothing else, you can run in for a snack because they had snacky foods in there. And you could have like a quiet time, have a little snack, and then go back to whatever you're doing. Whoever, I'm telling you, Vegas, listen up, operators, whoever brings back a diamond lounge type of thing situation, you're going to get a lot of new people coming to gamble on your properties.
I
You heard
I
it here.
I'm gonna make a really, really hot prediction. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Vegas is dead. I think
A lot of
it's
people, a
I,
lot of people are saying that.
you're
yeah.
absolutely right because gambling is expanded around the country, and why am I going to go all the way to Vegas when I can drive 15 minutes away and go to a casino? You know.
Yeah, and I think that what is going to happen is, and I hate to say this, and I'm not trying to be whatever, oh, Texas is the best, whatever, but what exists in Texas is a very different culture. It's a very different way of life. And it's very different from East Coast. It's very different from West Coast. And I've lived in all of these places for significant periods of time. And it is the difference between being at a restaurant in New Jersey or New York and being at a table and having, hard bread rolls at the table and asking politely for the server for some fresh rolls. And in New Jersey, being told to go fuck yourself. And in Vegas, maybe being eye rolled and maybe getting something an hour later. Whereas that's the standard. There's no elevated level of hospitality, is my point. Whereas in Texas, the level of hospitality, the default level of hospitality is so far above both coasts and everything in between. And there's a reason for that. And it's a very long-winded reason. I'm not going to get into it, but trust me, it is real and very data driven. The hospitality flavor is why Texas has stayed so insulated over a lot of things in that have affected pandemic, economics, industry growth. And it's also a reason why it is growing, and the Texas Triangle will become the world's fourth or fifth most powerful economy in the next 10 years or so. I believe it is all because the hospitality culture, y'all, Southern hospitality, is more of like a Southern, Georgia kind of thing. And then a little bit further west, it dissipates a little bit, and it's just the right combination. And it is why Houston, for example, is the most international city in America. We have overtaken New York. Why is that? It's because we're the most welcoming. It's because we are the most well situated. We are the people here. It is in the DNA of the people here to be hospitable and to be welcoming. And that is very different from East Coast DNA. That is very different from West Coast DNA. And that's Texas DNA. And that is why the international growth here has thrived over the last few decades, and it will prove to be the winner in the future. So if you have any extra money, or if you can move your family, my suggestion as a good investment would be either to buy the Texas Triangle or just to move to Texas, because I really don't think that there's going to be a better place to live or work.
Well, and I'm just going to say, going back to the bread thing, because I think that's everybody's favorite topic. They serve hot bread in Texas. None of this stale, hard shit that you'll get elsewhere. Just like in Georgia, we serve hot rolls, hot bread. So get it right.
Oh yeah,
Get it right,
and I
people.
didn't finish that thought. So let's say you have let's say you have stale rolls in New Jersey or stale rolls in California. There's different reactions. The default reaction in Houston would be your meal would be comped.
Right.
Literally, that's the
Right.
difference
Yep.
because and guess what? In Houston, I'm going to give you another stat. We have more restaurants than anyone per square foot. So you're looking at me as a poker player and you're like, Katie, what you're saying, those things do not equal each other. The city that has the most restaurants and the city that has the most robust restaurant economy in the country, how do those two things coexist? And you are the third largest city in the United States. It's because of the culture. the culture is very unique here. It is very different. And it's why this has been able to survive and grow. And quite frankly, it's what my mother saw, 25 years ago. And
Absolutely.
it's what she tapped into, and it's what she helped to create. Truly. This is all very, very documented on broadcast media for the last 25 years. So it's a very unique culture that exists that I think is just important. That's why everything I tweet these days is things like, this is an important thing. This is a good move. When Texas Instruments invests $60 billion in new land an hour down the road from them, that's a really big thing. When Elon and Jeff
Right.
Bezos, invest $100 billion each in Central Texas in things, when all of, that's a really big deal. I mean, it's
It speaks volumes,
yeah,
doesn't it?
yeah.
Now, what I want you to speak on for a moment, because I think we'd be remiss if we didn't. I want you to tell people what the restaurant weeks are in Houston.
Oh, sure. Well, Brandon has a question. Do you want to do
Oh,
Brandon's
go ahead.
questions first, and
Yeah,
then
go
I'll go,
ahead,
because that
Brandon.
might take a minute.
Yep, yep, yep.
I wanted to comment on what Katie said. I'm on record as being a huge fan of anything against Texas. I don't like the people are just like Texas is better than everything, but I gotta say
It's bigger and better in
everything's better.
Texas.
Everything's bigger, everything's better. Exactly. And people from Texas always act like that. And the funniest thing to tell people from Texas, you're only the second largest state. Alaska's bigger. But anyway, what she said about the hospitality is absolutely 100% on point, because I went to see the Orioles when they played in Houston, and me and my buddy went to a restaurant after the game, and it was a 20-minute wait to get a table, and the lady was like profusely apologizing to me. And then when we finally got sat, the server came and said, "We're going to give you a free appetizer. I'm so sorry you had to wait. It's 9:30 at night. You shouldn't have to wait. I can't apologize enough." And I'm like, the game just got out. Like, I could understand a wait because the restaurant was right next to the stadium, so everybody pours out of the stadium and goes to the bar right next door. I would expect a wait, but she just gave us a free appetizer, and the hospitality was 100% excellent. And you would think in
I love
Vegas,
that.
with the elevated prices, would come with elevated hospitality, but Katie's right, it does not. You pay
It's
a
different. It's
shitload of
different.
money for restaurants that don't deserve that price, and people are willing to do that if it comes with the hospitality part of it, and it doesn't. So yeah, it's a very good point about Texas and Vegas.
Yeah, and what
Well,
I see, and sorry, Sherry, I'll let
that's
you
okay.
continue, and I know you have a point, but what I'll say to that, Brandon, is what I have seen over the last 6 years with specifically what Tillman has been buying and building. And he is my second biggest donor. He was great friends with my mama. I mean, hell, look up who he is. He's a restaurant owner. Like this, of course we would be, have a good relationship. So based on everything that I've seen him building and buying and acquiring, it's been in my world, and being a pattern recognition person. I can see what's going on. I can see what's going on in Dallas, when the Adelson family came in. I can see how, with the Dallas Mavericks moving out of downtown, moving to Valley View Mall. Look, I used to be Mavericks season ticket holders, a season ticket for a few years. Like I went to college in Dallas. Got married in Dallas, built a house in Dallas. So I know the area pretty well. Had a very successful business down the street from Valley View. Know the area very well. Um, Tillman owns 10% of that. That's not an accident. What he's building and what he's been buying in Galveston over the last few years. He already owns most of Galveston. This is all public information. This is not, none of this
Correct.
is private or proprietary. I do not know anything private or proprietary at all. All I know and all I'm good at is putting the pieces together like what we do in poker with incomplete information, right? And figuring out, but because I do have so much other data that supports what he's doing, and then because I have so much context and perspective from gaming, I'm just a unique person that can see the direction of where things are fucking going in the state. And he's preparing, he's building, casinos are coming. This is going to probably be the most powerful casino state in the next 20 years. I'm not
Well,
exaggerating.
well, and I believe that's true, but we got to get poker legal in Texas first.
Yes,
So take the heat off of these damn card rooms for sure.
thank you. Yes.
Come on, Texas, you can do it. And I don't normally call out people by name in our audience, but I'm going to today because I'm going to suggest for those that are going to be submitting nominations for the Poker Hall of Fame. Kathy Liebert's down there as a listener right now. I definitely would recommend that recommendation for nomination. So just a little shout out to Kathy. Good luck this year. Hope this is your year. And yeah, I had to shout her out for that, you guys. Katie, what else you want to tell us about? Oh yeah, Restaurant Weeks in Houston. That's it.
Okay. So I'll give you guys the very, very brief history of, and I'll try to
Yes.
keep it very brief. So my mother was a pioneering broadcaster here in Houston before social media. So this is like in the 90s when I was in middle school. She was an editor at the city's major newspaper. And then she had a radio show, and then she was also a contributor to Fox 26 here in Houston. And so all of those things were very, there was no one else who had a platform in all three. And so she became very well known, and she was a marketing genius. And she created a game changing event that was solely created to drive revenue towards the restaurants in Houston in August, which was their slowest month of the year, and a lot of people had to lay people off. And she was, the food contributor on Fox. There was no one else covering food on TV. Again, this is the early 2000s. There were certainly food critics and food writers in print, but she was the only. She had a 3-hour radio show on CBS 650 every Saturday morning, and then she had multiple contributing segments on Fox. But she owned her radio show, and she was a contributor, so she wasn't employed at Fox. So it was a very just non-standard thing that existed here in Houston. There was no other network around the country that had a Cleverly Stone who, so organically had grown and become beloved by the community. And long story short, the event ended up turning Houston into the most robust month of the year for restaurants in August. And that doesn't happen anywhere else in the world. But simultaneously, it became the largest annual fundraiser for the food bank here. And we have the world's largest food bank. So this is the biggest check that the world's largest food bank gets every year. And it is truly it has a life of its own. Like my mother created it 23 years ago, but it's the kind of thing that like I'm at the helm, steering the ship, but it is truly as popular as the World Series of Poker is worldwide here in Houston, if that makes sense. It is embraced by nearly every Houstonian. It's on TV every day. It's in print media every day because it has this dual impact where it single-handedly engineers the busiest month of the year for the restaurants for 5 entire weeks, and then it is feeding 70 million people over the lifetime of the event via Houston Food Bank. There's just nothing like it that exists anywhere in the world. And so it's a big movement, and so it's unique. And so my broadcast partners are ESPN, Fox. I have a show that I have 3 unique episodes per week that air on Fox. I do, live shots, and I'm not employed by Fox. I'm employed by my mother's foundation. It has a board. We are the most significant ally to the hospitality industry in the 3rd largest city in the United States. And it's just a very unique situation. It's very public. It's something that you don't walk anywhere in the city without anybody knowing what it is.
So tell us what the customer's getting during restaurant weeks.
So most of you have probably heard of a restaurant week event because most cities have them. Many small cities have them. It's effectively a promotion. It's a set menu for a set price. That's at least the way ours works. And then there's a donation built into it. So, for example, in Houston, it's a $55 prefix, 3 courses, and $5 of that 55 is donated. So the restaurant keeps 50 and $5 is donated, which translates into 15 meals for food insecure Houstonians, because the Houston Food Bank can convert every dollar donated into 3 meals. And so it's a when my mother passed away in 2020, and I had a very big decision to make because I was at the peak of my career, headed for a lot of really fun things. I had just, been producing and hosting my own show with WPT. I was playing the highest stakes I'd ever played. I was, doing really well, having the most successful and profitable years of my career when poker was the most difficult. And then my mom passes away, and I have this decision to make. Do I walk away from everything to basically learn a new game? And it was one chef who pulled me aside and took out his phone and said, "Katie, I've known you since you were a kid. I was one of the chefs that your mother," because my mother was very private about me. She didn't want people to have this idea that I was in a craps pit at 3 a.m. just because I was a well-known poker player. People would text her and say, "Why is your daughter in Monaco? Why is she in Morocco? Why is she in London? Why is she in Mexico for 2 years? Why is she?" She used to tell people I was a world traveler. But this chef,
I love it.
pulled me aside. He said, "Katie, I've known you since you were a kid, and I know how you are. I know how your brain works. I know that you've never failed. I know that everything you do is a success. And I want you to just look at these numbers because you don't understand yet that this is the same game that you've been playing your whole life." And he showed me his POS, his point of sale system. And that is the data. That's, the software that basically keeps track. It's like a solver. It's like a HUD. It's like,
Right.
everything that they sell, all of the profit margins, how much do they have in supply? How much do they need to buy? What is their expected per person average? What is their expected amount of people they're going to get in that seat on a Monday? What about Friday at noon? What about Saturday at 11? How much supply do we have? How many people do we have? It's all numbers. It's all numbers, and it's all
Absolutely.
bets, and it's all estimating, and it's all understanding percentages, and it's the exact same fucking game. And so, he pulled me aside and he was like, "Look, you're going to do great. You can do this. You can play this game. You can do it." And that's what happened. So I've built a really strong team. I kept my mother's original people that have been with her since day one. And it's a fun game.
Kudos to you, Katie.
It's fun.
Kudos to you for carrying on your mom's legacy. It's so important to the community of Houston, for sure. And tell us what the check was that was written to the food bank last year.
Oh yeah, those checks are fun to write. So it was just over 1.6 million
Wow.
just last week actually. And which was a really substantial, and I'll just toot the fucking horn right now.
Absolutely.
It was
Toot away, girl.
it was really fucking substantial because I made a very crucial decision last year in that I lowered the donations for the restaurants. They used to be 3, 5, and 7. I lowered them to 1, 3, and 5, which meant that the restaurants were able to keep more money, more of the revenue, because the dollar is just not what it is worth now than it was
Right.
in 2019. If y'all didn't know, right now, 2026, this is the most difficult time that the restaurant industry has ever endured. Just for you to know, it might not be that obvious, but it definitely is. And so last year, 25, in April of 25, is when the shit hit the fan. Number one, the tariffs were starting to compound and be a real issue. Number two, the immigration bullshit that affected our region in particular. And then the really big thing was we didn't know what beef prices were going to be in the summer of 25. And so I spent a few months. My board chair is my uncle. He's private wealth management at Morgan Stanley. He's the guy who gave me my first book on game theory in 2005 when I was switching from chess to poker.
I love it.
We modeled for about a month what we should reduce the donations to, because you can't just, for an event that generates $75 million in revenue and affects 11% of the city, you can't just arbitrarily be like, oh yeah, we're just going to reduce it to this, because it affects the donation to the food bank.
Of course.
It affects the bottom line for the restaurants. It affects the
Right.
operations. It affects everything, right? So I settled on 7, 5, and 3 down to 5, 3, and 1, which effectively my estimate was going to be a 40% reduction in the overall donation to the food bank. That was my estimate. And we were kind of bracing for reduced meal counts because of diner trend. But in actuality, you know what happened, Sherry? Do you fucking know what happened?
People stepped up to the plate.
Listen, the restaurants, and we did some other things differently too. Like we started much earlier. I went full-time broadcasting a little bit earlier instead of part-time with the event, because I do out of season stuff and then in season stuff, but I went whatever. We made some adjustments on our end. We put pictures on the website for the first time on the menus. Like we had a lot of tech developments on the website. The restaurants had a record-breaking year. And they sold year over year, they had a 26% increase in meal sales, dinner sales, which is so out of line with the rest of the industry, because 25, the entire hospitality industry nationwide, did worse than 24. So not only did the entire industry lose 25 versus 24, we bucked that even, and we had a 26% increase, and it was a record-breaking year.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got to write that big fat check last week.
Yeah, that was a fun check. Yep.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. Yeah.
That is amazing. Now, is there anything else you want to tell us about?
Y'all are, I can't even believe y'all are
Look.
still listening. Like,
Oh my gosh. Look, we are the people that will tune in. That's all I've got to say to you is we are the people that love poker and will tune in for sure. And, I always appreciate our conversations because I love your passion.
well, I love you, Sherry. And, it really, I hope everyone really understands, and I think they do. I hope everyone understands that, poker doesn't continue without people like you and people who are passionate like you and continue doing this every day like you do. And, it's just important for context. It's important for the growth of the game. And man, I wish somebody would put you on a bigger platform, because really what you do is just very important and good for the community.
Well, I appreciate your kind words. And, I love you as well. And I do this because I love it as well, right? We all have passions in life, and this is one of mine. And I have some great people that tune in and are on my panels every day, or just listeners because they're maybe too bashful or not interested in being speakers or whatever. But they'll send me DMs of questions to ask and contribute in other ways. And I love it. I absolutely love it, and I appreciate your kind words. I'm going to give Isaac came up under the Playful Primates account. Isaac, did you have something you wanted to contribute, buddy?
Uh, I'm alive. Good morning. Great conversation. I'm going to mute while my coffin slowly opens. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I love it. Poor Isaac is on a big project right now, so he's burning the candle at 55 different ends, and we just appreciate his morning comments when his coffin is opening. For sure. ASG, I haven't heard from you in a few minutes. Was there anything else you'd like to bring up or discuss, buddy?
Sure, I'm just a little slow. So with the four-way picture-in-picture thing, when I watch it on MLB, each game has its own broadcast, so they have their own commentators that they then like shoot to, I think. So like how would this work in the WSOP version?
So, what I was thinking, and again, I don't know the entire production setup. Sherry, we should probably actually just talk about logistically how that works too, in case anybody has any
Yes,
insight
go right
and
ahead.
any whatever,
Yep.
just about what that really means of having a staff in Korea. But this was my original idea, and again, I haven't been there this year. I have not walked the floor. But based on what I see, there's, let's say, and this was during the heads up.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties,
Her phone died again, maybe.
Or she
maybe.
got a
Well,
phone call. That felt like
yeah.
that felt real phone call.
Yeah, we'll give her a minute to get back to us.
That is a good question, ASG. I didn't think about that because, like you said, when it's on MLB, it just switches to each game's broadcast. But I don't know. Does poker need like broadcasters there live? Could they have a team at a studio somewhere and commentate on all four games that they're in the quad box? I don't know if that would work.
Or even two teams, covering two tables each or something.
We just need to clone Jeff
Interesting.
Platt like 3 times and send them all out as a team.
I love it. Katie, are you back with us, honey? God bless her. We all know what she's going through right now, trying to get back in here.
Hey, side bets, side bets, side bets.
Yes.
Who says it was telephone call? I'm gonna say I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah, telephone call.
Telephone
I
call,
agree.
100%.
action on telephone call. Everybody.
Okay, so
I
just to
agree.
vamp while we're waiting. So since the new Hall of Fame stuff has come out, I see a lot more people campaigning than campaigning before.
Oh,
So I've seen
yes.
Farrah campaigning for
Mormon,
Phil. I've seen Mora campaigning. I've seen sorry, I can't remember what's Arya's wife's name.
Coon. Oh, yeah. Isn't it
Rachel. Yeah,
Rachel?
I was gonna say Rachel,
Rachel.
but I didn't want to be
Rachel.
wrong.
Yeah.
Rachel campaigning for Josh. I've seen Jason Kuhn. So yeah, people are definitely, now that they know, look, it's no longer a race where they thought it might be a race between like Sean Deeb and Scott Seaver. They're
Seaver.
like okay, well now that there's a chance if I'm nominated, I can get it, and I'm gonna really use Twitter to try
Well,
to
I'm
get
just going to tell you guys, I'm putting something together here in the next day or two on behalf of John Sanudo, Miami John. So this girl right here is going to put a little campaign together for my pal John. So be ready, folks. Go ahead, Isaac. Isaac? Uh-oh.
He might not know where the mute button is yet. It's still early.
Isaac, are you there? He had his hand up. God bless. God bless. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Joey, you want to add
Yes.
anything while we wait?
You read my mind, so thank you for doing that for Miami John. I love that. I can't wait to repost that for sure. I mean, that's going to be something. And I'll tell you, I feel bad for the players that are self-promoting themselves. I mean, I'll retweet anybody I know who I feel is worthy.
Right.
But I was reading the comments on Josh's. I mean, come on, like give him a break, people. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Like they actually were putting him down for self-promoting himself. Like that's stooping pretty low.
Well, I get it, at first glance, you kind of think, oh, it's so tacky that they have to do this. But at the same token, the nature of the beast is making them do it or feeling like they need to do it. So, sort of a catch 22.
Yeah, it is. But it's awareness, and there may be people out there that who are not even aware that Josh is eligible. And so
Right.
there's nothing wrong with just saying, hey, if you like me, vote for me. There's,
Right.
there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong
Right.
with that.
Also, like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too into it, but oh my God, the replies of the guy who was suggesting Ike Caxton, you would think he was like the biggest scumbag on earth, but I'm just like
Wait a minute. I forget. How old is Maurice? Wait. Are we going to
Oh,
see some
Sherry,
self
now you're
promoting for
well,
Maurice?
now you're starting
well,
some
Wait,
shit,
next
what?
year is
Sherry.
Bonomo.
No, Bonomo.
Yes.
Oh, the
Oh man,
comments
Next year
there.
is Bonomo. Next year is Bryn
Oh,
Kenny.
Lord.
Next
that would
year,
be great.
Oh my God.
I'm going full troll and completely getting on the Justin Bonomo Hall of Fame train next year for sure.
and in more
I
serious,
got the
like
shirts
Bryn
ready,
Kenny is going to
Brandon.
be
I got the
very
shirts
polar.
ready.
Bryn Kenny's going to be
Don't
very
do
polar. He's
Don't encourage him, Isaac. Have you lost your damn mind?
Yo, listen, it
Ay,
is gonna
ay,
be the
ay.
funniest shit ever to see Brandon with fucking a big old pink haired Bonomo shirt.
I'm
Come on,
with
that's too
I'm
good.
gonna grow out. I'm bald, but I'm gonna grow out my hair and dye it pink just for Bonomo. Bonomo 2027, baby. Let's go.
Oh my Lanta, you're trying
well.
to
That's
give
what I'm going
Barry
to say.
another
Like whenever
stroke.
you think of either of them, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. Ike Haxton is not Justin Bonomo. Okay, just because you wear a mask doesn't mean like you're going crazy with your anyway. But and also Bonomo has its own controversies of multi-tabling and stuff in the Poker
Yeah, but
Stars era.
isn't it more about Ike cheating than it is about him wearing a mask? Or
When
am
did
I
Ike ever cheat?
mixing them? Okay,
No,
maybe it's
Bonomo multi-tabled, but I'd never heard anything about Ike.
okay. I must have him confused with somebody. Oh, you know who I have him confused with in my thought processes is Yurservovich. What is his name? Oh
Jake
my
and Ali.
Lanta.
Ali.
Ali, that's who I'm thinking of. Sorry there, Ikey boy. Yeah, that's who I have him confused with right now. Sorry.
Damn, I'm surprised Haxton hasn't been in the conversation for a while. I mean, dude's been around forever and is like, I think you're right. That whole mask thing is probably the biggest reason they would hate on him. But
But what is the difference in wearing a mask and like all other players that wear a hoodie and when they're in a hand they pull their hoodie up over their nose?
yo, listen, I
What's
I
the
feel that
difference?
conversation. But look, this year, for
Okay.
example, what's up with people putting sweaters on their face that they're not even wearing?
Or like they have a scarf. They'll put an entire scarf around their face. You
I
know.
mean, during the
All right,
coverage,
you
they said
guys.
Galen Hall looked like Indiana Jones. I mean,
Yes, I
Yeah,
remember that comment. I love it. All right, Katie, you're back with us.
I'm back. I'm sorry. My phone died and then my
I'll
charger was like unplugged and it was not plugging in.
I'll
Sorry
No
about
worries.
that.
I'll take my
Don't
Um,
money,
worry
his
Isaac.
about
I
it.
was
ghost
but
right.
I,
My
battery
phone
like
died again.
nobody else. Don't worry about it.
oh, I know. And I'm thinking I'm smart by upgrading my phone and my charger and I'm still plagued with this. Anyway, but I do remember what I was saying. So you had asked, I think, about the quad view, how that
Correct.
would work.
Yes.
So originally, this was my idea. And again, let me please preface this by saying I haven't been there, whatever, but they have a lot of cameras. And I don't think it would be a difficult thing. And like Jeff said in the tweet when he responded by just saying probably, um, you just set up stagnant cameras. So whether it is like from the top, which they already have, you can just program them to be stagnant at a particular kind of view. Even if you have a producer who is, like even if you go to a split screen, well, you can't do that in a quad, but even if you are going from like a two shot, meaning like you are going back and forth, and I use the heads up as an example because this is where I got the idea from. It would just be so easy for them to implement this on one screen of the quad is a two shot. And that means you, like, let's say it's, Mike and Maurice. You have a camera on Mike when he's acting, and then you go back to Maurice, and then you go back to Mike, and then you go back to Maurice, and then you zoom out. And that's just one camera. You only need one camera. You can have two cameras for a two shot if you want, but you can also accomplish it with one camera. And that just takes one person. So why not have, and you can do it with commentary or not. Like MLB Live has commentary on all four most of the time, and then they highlight and then which one is the one that you're hearing, and it mutes everything else. So you can do the same thing for this. You can have commentary, or you don't even need to have commentary, because I think like that would be okay if there's maybe one of the quad that has commentary and the others don't, as long as there's action and then it's moving around, especially if there's like an all-in moment. And then you just set it up that you have that at one. And let's say the heads up tournament's going on. Maybe you're featuring two of the really good heads up matches. But then let's say there's also like a 50K final table going on, or a 1500 that, Nick Schulman is about to win, like he did the other day. You can show all four of those at the same time, and then, have the commentary team on whatever is, going on. But in theory, you could also have that same commentary team covering all four of the quad screens too.
Right.
So this is what
And I will. Oh, go ahead.
this is what I suggested to Jeff. I didn't like lay it all out there, because all I did was I programmed it in I gave suggestions of views that would be applicable in the quad screen, like completely thinking that he would understand the plan, like, taking, like, I've given him 10 steps, but I've only given him one step. I am betting on the fact that he can predict steps 2 through 10. His tweet clearly indicated that he didn't, though. And everyone should call him out on that, because it's a good fucking idea. And for him to ignore it like this is just really not good for him in his job. It just shows poor decision. It just shows that he's jealous. It shows whatever. And I used to like him. I did. But if he's not going to take critical, good ideas, and if he's gonna respond to it like the way he responded to it, when, like, this is something my news producer at Fox wants to do. Like the ideas that I'm pitching to poker are the things that I do in my own organization. And then there are things that, like, the people I work with want to do too, and like, so this is whatever. Anyway, that's how it would work. That's how it would work.
I want to interject that I think it was Jeff that said that they actually have a crew for each one of the live tables. So they have a crew in place for each table. So it's just a matter of getting the booth straightened out, whether you have one group of, and they have several different, think of how many announcers they've acquired this year. They have a good group of announcers, and so you can do more than one booth.
Let's just talk about the announcing lineup, because that is wrong also, Sherry.
Go for it.
Like, that is not correct. Again, they're trying to align themselves with like a sports broadcast. Like, I think Jeff mentioned, or somebody mentioned, like ESPN, some whatever, sportscast, whatever. But Jeff, guess what? If you look at those broadcasts, most of them, they don't have 3 fucking talking heads up there. They have 3 players up there who have become the commentators. The fact that they have Jeff, Stapes, and Norm and David Williams, and the fact that only one of them is interchangeable, in my opinion, is just a very bad formation. It is a very poor choice of formation. What would a good formation look like in my eyes? All right, Jeff has to be there. I get it. He's the guy that poker has. I get it. Let's embrace him. Let's try to help him. Okay. You do not put Stapes up there. You do not put Norm up there. Get them the fuck out of there. Okay, fine. You can have David Williams, but you put Maria Ho up there, maybe. You put other respected players who have good commentary skills. Get rid of the talking heads. Because guess what? The talking heads are going away in news. Let me
Well, and I
tell you,
get it. And I
you
get it.
turn broadcast news on today. Guess what you fucking see? You see TikTok streams of influencers.
I like Ali Najad. I know he's not like a great player, but I think he's pretty good in the booth.
Yeah, I think he's good. I think Nick is good. I think Nick is the best. But the point is,
Nick is great. Yeah.
if you're gonna have four, they have reversed it. You don't do 3 and 1. You do 1 and 3. You can have Jeff be the ringleader. Like, look at this is, in my opinion, the best show, the best sports broadcast show on television. And I'm not just saying this because I grew up with them and used to babysit their kids as a ball kid for the Houston Rockets in Houston. But it is Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, and Charles Barkley, like 3 men that I knew as kids very well, because they spent a lot of fucking time in Houston, and Ernie, right? Like
And
this is the best broadcast team, period, on
you
television.
you don't
In
even have to like basketball to enjoy that show because of the banter that they get.
Right.
It's for sure the best show in TV.
100%.
Well, and I'm
Sports
just
TV.
going to tell you, you got to leave Norm alone. I'm a Norm fan. Just going to tell you that. Joey, go ahead.
So I totally agree with that, and but I will come to Jeff's defense. It's not that he didn't listen, but if you saw Jeff in person right now, the man is running on fumes. He's being
No, you
stretched.
can see it. You can see it in his eyes in the broadcasts. And I hate to
Yes.
say that. He does not look good.
No. So the fact that he even
It's
has
okay. I
time to
said that
even
the other day.
respond, because he is running on fumes, which means WSOP, Club GG, hire more people, right?
Honestly, I don't even think it's that. I just think it's the nature of the beast right now that they are running around trying to accomplish things that are new to them, that they're trying to figure out on the fly. I just think they're like, you can, and you guys know I mentioned it last week that Jeff looked tired. Like, and you can tell they do look tired. TJ looks tired. And I just think it's the nature of the beast that they literally are running around to try to make it happen. And next year, it's going to be, I feel like it'll be completely different. I think they're trying their hardest with what they were dealt, so to speak. Go
Right.
ahead,
And they still
ASG.
give
How's
everybody
that?
the time of day as quickly as they can. It's like
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
being so unselfish, but they're just stretched to the max.
Yeah. That's how I feel it is. Go ahead, ASG.
Yeah.
Not that there can't be changes, but go ahead, ASG.
Yeah, Norm he's basically like there to be the Andy Rooney of the
Right.
WSOP. Like
Right.
he's he's there at the end, and then like I get he's good, or he typically is good for edit. Like he's not in the booth. Like yeah, he's there for their pre-show, but when you watch the coverage.
He's the master of dad jokes. He's our dad jokes deliverer.
But I'm just saying,
What
like
if
he's there for like the 30 minutes of pre-coverage. He's not in the booth during
Right.
the actual
Right.
coverage. So I just wanted to like separate, like when you talked about who is in the booth right now, it's like David Williams, Ali, Stapes, that I can't think of Nanoku. What's his name?
Um,
Anyway, the guy
I'm
who
at a
was
loss.
like fake head of security for ACR for a few minutes. Um, and then I'm like,
Oh my
oh
God.
Rob Flynn?
no,
Talking about Rob Flynn?
Nananoko, Nana.
ASG.
Anyway,
I can't think of his name, but I know who you're talking about.
so they
You are
tried to put like
so
a
funny.
personality with somebody who like knows poker. So Nananoko is the guy who knows poker, who's like with Stapes, and then David Williams, the guy who's knows poker, who's with Ali, and then they go to Platt. So yeah, I just wanted to also like the people that you see. So there's like the half
There's,
hour.
in other words, yeah, there's that. It's the coverage show, like the opening show, and then there's the booth, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. And the opening show is
Okay.
almost like what 20 minutes, a half hour. It's definitely short. Like it keeps getting short. And
Right.
also like I don't know why it's like if you're gonna have I guess it kind of makes sense, but at the same time, like, I liked the High Noon concept better, where that show was like its own show, as opposed to being like the lead up to the stream. Because
Right.
usually
Right.
you think you're, oh, the stream is starting, and then nope, it's that pre-show thing. Like, it would be like if that NBA
Right.
show was what you thought was the start of the NBA finals.
Well, and I appreciate them copying my concept of, WSOP daily coverage. I appreciate them. That's very flattering that they've copied my concept. And but yeah, I want to see the live stream. Go ahead, Isaac.
I was gonna say, I mean, what you can tell this year is that like Platt looks like he's running more things, right? And
Yes.
he's not just reporting or doing anything
Right.
like that. I think that's why he looks so burnt already, because
Yeah.
it's just the weight of the production, right? It's not, you're not just
Yeah.
there to interview anymore. Hey,
Yeah.
I
He's
mean,
working his butt off.
it goes to show you though. I mean, Poker Go not being involved is kind of showing in those ways. But hey,
The nature of the beast right now. And it's unfortunate because they are definitely catching the heat for some of the stuff that's going on or not going on. All right, Miss Katie, what else you got for us before I let you off the hook and invite you back in the future?
Well, I mean, we can talk about just, I would really love for, um, people just to really try to be more vocal about the kind of coverage they do and they don't want to see from the WSOP and from, I mean, I think people are very good about that, about speaking out, but um like I can't emphasize enough how valuable the platform is during this time of the year for them, and just as a company, how it really takes like the whole year to plan for. Like, ideally, there's a team that is dedicated solely to this event, both on Gigi side and on Caesar's side. And ideally, this is just their full-time job. And that as soon as the World Series finishes, literally the next day, they are recapping, seeing what they could have done better, and planning for 2027, 24 hours later. I don't know if that's what happens. It would be interesting to find out what kind of changes that, and Sherry, to your point, totally agree. Like, they've put a lot of new things in this year. Jeff is in a new position, to your point. Um, or somebody, I forget who made it, and he is running, he's burning, at both ends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really showing, and it's not the best use probably of his skill set. So there's maybe some things that they need to work out. Great example, what I did this year for my own broadcast schedule, because I am also that same person where I am the face and the broadcast face, but I'm also pushing the buttons behind the scenes.
Right.
Is I'm shooting my own content up until July 2nd. And then that's it. I am not doing anything else. And I will not go out and shoot anything else until after August 1st. And so I've been accumulating content. I've been double and triple shooting since March. And I've been acquiring enough content because I have 3 episodes a week that I have to churn out
Right on.
every single week. And each episode is a 30-minute episode. And so just think about the timing and the production and the staff and the amount of people. And it's a different set every single time. It's a different restaurant every time. And we're promoting an event that's in August. So you have to plan ahead and do all this and get the graphics and get the names of the dishes and get the social media and blah, blah, blah. I've shot everything in advance this year, and this is the first time I've done this, so that I can be at my desk and in the tank and at my grind station. Literally, my same grind station that I use for online poker is now doing this, and I can be in here for a whole month and not have to shoot. That's what I've done, and so I can see the struggle that Jeff is going through. But he can't really do that unless he gets somebody to manage the back end for him, because you need him for the front end and front facing.
Absolutely. And he just took the job in February,
Yeah.
like the end of January, February. And, There's a lot going on. And I almost feel sorry for some of them because it's baptism by fire. And it's one of the biggest productions of the year, if actually the biggest production of the year in the world of poker, right? And so you almost, I feel for them because they are learning as they go for some things, as well as, there are a lot of things in place that have spoiled us as players that we took for granted, that now that we don't see it or hear it, or it isn't within our grasp, we're like, wait a minute, this is not so good because it's not the way it used to be. And yeah, learning curve, I think, for a lot of the folks involved this year. Go ahead, ASG.
Yeah, two things. Yeah, one, when you talk about Jeff, yeah, why is the same person both like interviewing people, as being like the interviewer, the sideline reporter, taking com- uh, complaints about the stream and dealing with parking? Like, that
Is
Because
seems
he's
to
the
be like that.
PR guy.
is
Because
he
he's the
is
PR
he
guy.
doing sideline reporting this year? Is he going table
Yeah.
to table doing his thing? I haven't seen. He is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that he should not be doing that. He shouldn't be doing and whatever, Stapes, come at me. Katie doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about, bro. He should
No,
not,
that's plot.
based
Yeah, that's
on
Platt doing
everything
that.
we're saying, he should not be doing that, especially with the new role that he has and the back end management that is now on his plate as well. Either one, bring Kara Scott back to replace him, or
How
two,
about Lexi Gavin?
or now,
Why not give Lexi Gavin
hold
a
on a
chance again?
second.
What about
Did you see my argument about Lexi with them yesterday?
No,
Wait a minute, Sherry, go to my Twitter.
I did.
I
I
got,
did because I went to see my daughter's team play yesterday. So
all right.
once I got off my space, I didn't look at social media until this morning. So no,
Okay.
I
Here, I got into it with Stapes and Jeff about Lexi yesterday.
I didn't see that. Go ahead, tell us.
Look at my Twitter because WSOP tweeted a clip that was a clip of Lexi's very first day of commentary with them. And it was her and it was David Williams and Stapes and Jeff. And
Okay,
it was a 3-minute clip. And this was the pre-show. And
right,
the 3-minute clip, so understand what a clip is. What is the purpose of a clip? The purpose of a clip, it's a short form content. The purpose of the clip is to drive you to the long form
right.
content.
The
Okay.
hook. It's the
Okay.
hook.
So if we know that that's the object of the game, we probably want to make a really good short form content clip. And we want to highlight the people to their fullest and to their best, meaning we want to make them look good. We want to show them at their best. They clip a comment. This is in that 3-minute segment where David asks Lexi a very good question. And then they toss it over to Stapes. And the question that Stapes chooses to ask Lexi is for her commentary on Aaron Massey's comment in his interview from the day before about how it's easy for him to have sex anytime he wants. Now, here,
Oh,
hold on a second. Hold on a second. I am calling out this clip because number one, if I'm Lexi, I'm pretty pissed that the WSOP, I have signed on with the WSOP, a worldwide brand. I'm getting paid. I am lending them my reputation in poker as an established, recognized pro with a good following. They now have the onus of handling her reputation and her legacy and how she is projected to their worldwide audience. And you're telling me that out of the, and then Jeff Platt came in the chat and said, I said, you're telling me that that's the best question that you could ask her to highlight? And Jeff said, well, Stapes asked her 7 questions. And I said, yeah, but I only saw one in the clip. You're saying that he asked her 7 questions and 6 of them were about poker and one of them was about sex. And you chose the one about sex to highlight on the clip to drive to the long form. Do you understand how rude that is to Lexi?
It's such an ick factor,
Do
isn't
you,
it?
do you,
Such an ick
but do you
factor.
understand how disrespectful that
Oh,
is
yeah,
to
absolutely.
Lexi's career as a poker
Oh,
professional, that you're putting her in that chair for the first time? You are finally introducing a voice who can hold themselves together, who can speak in front of a camera, who looks like they are comfortable in front of a camera. Let me tell you that that is one of the most important things that you can find in broadcast, is somebody who looks natural and can be in front of the camera in a natural way. She has that. Okay.
absolutely.
And you're telling me that that is your best choice? You asked the one woman on the fucking panel about sex, and you completely ignored her 20-year history in the game as a profitable poker pro? Like, that's what I'm telling you about, is the clip selection. And so then Stapes goes back and says something to me like, oh, well, maybe if you watch the show. I said, based on that clip, I'm not going to watch the fucking show. Why would I? It's a
Yeah,
sexist, disrespectful of a female pro. And y'all, they just ignore it. Both,
yeah,
neither of them, both Stapes, this happened yesterday in real time. Go to my Twitter, click my replies.
I will.
Neither of them acknowledged what I was saying as a valid point. Neither of them acknowledged that it was disrespectful in any way possible. You guys may think that it's like a little thing, like, oh, they did a clip. No, understand the transactions that take place when a person sits on the screen for any broadcast. There's contracts, there's negotiations, there's branding, there's clauses, there's things you can do, there's things you cannot do, there's things you have to wear, things you can say, things you can represent, patches you can wear, patches you can't wear. There are a lot of bullshit things that you have to deal with. In addition, you as the player and the commentator, you don't just want to align yourself with any rinky-dink stream, because you don't want the producers and the editors to make you look bad. You don't want to be on a production that has bad lighting that's going to make you look 20 years older. You don't want to be on a production that's going to cut you off or not give you any airtime, or is going to focus on your cleavage or your boobs or on the wrong assets. Like, these are all things that a professional broadcaster or any broadcaster has to think about when they put themselves on camera in front of a worldwide audience. I do this shit every fucking day. And that is not happening. The fact that that decision, like, I hope somebody clips this and puts this out there. The fact that that decision with that clip was made to portray the one female on the fucking panel at this time in gaming history, on that platform, at this time in poker history, with that particular player, I can't really emphasize enough how bad and how poor of a decision that is, because what it does is it reflects an entire strategy that is very, very losing and is very misaligned. And if they don't know this, if they don't recognize this as a glaring blunder, this is a blunder. This is what we call in chess. This is a blunder. We are giving our pieces away. We are literally giving value away for nothing in return. This is a detriment to the game. And if they don't see that at the very root level, this is a big problem, because that's management, or again, it might just be a disconnection, right? Like, it might just be
Right.
like somebody hiring in one country and another country doing this and another company doing this. And they're all very disassociated with themselves, and the pieces are not moving harmoniously on the board like they need to. There has to be harmony. Y'all read that book, Harmony in Chess. We all came up on it. There has to be harmony with the pieces if you want to win. You can't have all of these pieces going renegade, going crazy, doing whatever the fuck they want, because one Poker News or WSOP reporter has a hard on for Maurice Ashley, or not Maurice Ashley, Maurice Hawkins. Maurice Ashley's a chess player. I'm sorry. And my best friend Jen Shahadi is doing an event with him, today that I just retweeted. So that's why he's on my brain. But
Love it.
you can't, just because one reporter is starstruck and that's a lot of what happens too, is these reporters, they're not reporters. They're freelancer, poker player, wannabe, whatever, who are starstruck, and they go with what's easy. They go with what is going to give them the most satisfaction. And
I say that's lazy.
that's lazy, and that's not
That's
right.
lazy as hell.
But that is a
And
big point, you guys, is that clip selection. And I can't emphasize enough how big of a root issue that shows, is that if that's the way they're viewing, that they're thinking that out of 7 questions, the question with the female about sex is the one that we're going to put on our worldwide platform.
yeah, not a good look. It's kind of disappointing to hear. I'm going to go back and read your tweet and the
And
responses
nobody
in that
said anything
thread.
about it. Like, nobody said anything about it. They didn't even acknowledge it. It's
That's disappointing.
so bad. It's like, are you not acknowledging it because the concept is so above your thinking? Like, you cannot think at that level? Is that what it is? Is it too complicated of a topic for them to comprehend? Because it is so correct. I know I'm correct. And then they just completely ignore it. It's probably because of inefficiency. They can't do anything about it, and it's too big of a problem. So that's something that you need to observe. Everybody needs to understand.
Hell yeah, we do. Hell yeah, we do. And it's, you have people talking at one side of their mouth about, trying to get more women involved with poker, making sure they're treated well when they're at the poker table. And men too. Men deserve to be treated well as well. So don't think I'm getting lost in that sauce. But then you have a big broadcast, putting a female player, an accomplished player, an accomplished content creator on the spot with such a question. It just seems like it's low hanging fruit. Um,
Yeah.
and
Who's
maybe,
married, by the way?
Yes. Who's married, exactly. And
yeah,
I called Stapes out for it. I said I thought it was a very poor taste question. And they were, and then he was like, well, I think your wording was poor taste because you didn't watch the whole show. I'm like, no, I'm not going to fucking watch the whole show based on that. I don't want to watch Lexi talk about sex. That's not a poker broadcast. That's not, no, I want to watch her talk about poker. That her answer to David Williams was great in when he asked her a poker question.
right.
And she handled the very inappropriate question from Stapes very professionally and very good. She has the chops. She can do it. I've known her for 20 years. I messaged her yesterday. I should message Bob too. They should hire Nick Schulman to coach her one-on-one. She could have a whole career. She has the ability to do that. And it
Absolutely.
doesn't, and y'all may think, I know exactly what, well, maybe not. I don't know who everybody is in here, but she is the kind of player that needs to do that. It's not a high solver use elite pro. That's not the type. You need Lexi. She's real. She's been around.
People can relate to her.
People can relate to her. They can walk up to her at a tournament. She's got a supportive husband who is all in with her in career. Like, get that girl some coaching from Nick and only Nick. And that's what I told her. I said, get him to coach you and don't listen to anyone else. It doesn't matter what he charges you. If he charges you $1,500 an hour, $2,000 an hour, get somebody to pay for it,
Bob.
or
Bob.
WSOP or
Or
WPT
yes,
or
that's right.
whatever, and coach her and bring her up. Like, WPT should grab her for Tony, like that. I mean, that's that, before my mother passing away, that was my plan. Go look at my social, go look at my Instagram. I was right there. Like, I was like, I'm good at this. I can do this. This is job security, baby. I can do this into my 40s. I can, I know the
Right.
game. Like, I was going right there, and I definitely would have gone. I definitely would have been happy doing it, she can do that. She can do that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys. I love you all, but my daughter's on the way here, and she's in town for doing intense tennis and coaching this team in this new form of tennis. And she's about to be here at my home, and I love y'all, but I got to go visit with my daughter. So, Katie, I'm going to have you back for sure. You know, I love our conversations, and we always learn a lot when we're around you, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm ranting a little bit, but y'all have me on the weekend in the morning on my poker phone. I have a total separate phone that is logged into all my poker accounts that I leave in another room so I don't access it during the week. So that's why I'm very spicy on the weekends.
I love it. I love
Can I
it.
just
Love
throw?
you.
Yeah. Can I just
Go
throw?
ahead.
Yeah, I just want to throw an end because it does relate to a large amount of what you're talking about. Is that um, some people like the sense of humor, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but Stapes definitely like has a large bit with both individuals and the audience as a whole to just like I'm not is it talking down to them? It's kind of talking down to them. So
Yeah.
I mean that's definitely like that
When
that's
he
part of his
calls the
commentary.
audience, what does he say? My
Babies. My
chickadees, my
babies.
babies. Every time he says that statement, my skin crawls. I'm not your I'm not one of your babies. Like I'm an adult. I'm a female adult poker player. Like address me appropriately.
You know what? I might be in the same camp as him though, because I often refer to my viewers as my tasty little tomatoes. Or my spicy little tacos.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but do you do it? I think he does it too often,
Yeah,
maybe
but
for me.
also like the way he like talked about like making fun of the chat when they wanted to see D-Negs in the PLO final table, which
Yeah,
coincidentally
that was
Maurice
not
is on.
good.
And yeah, so I'm just saying it's like it's definitely part of his brand, I'll say.
Yeah,
I
I,
agree.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. All right, you guys. Love you all. Appreciate you all. Katie, we'll have you back for sure. I'll
Sounds
be
good.
watching your Twitter, and when I see those hot topics building, I'm going to have you back, and we'll discuss them. And if nothing else, it gives you a chance to vent.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that, y'all. I do
Thank you.
appreciate that venting. And y'all, seriously, like some of that, I hope some of y'all clip some of that just because we had some good chat today. I don't know if you're clipping any of it, but man, I wish some of the comments that some of y'all made were really just like totally spot on, and it would just be really good for some of the right people to hear it.
Well, I'm going to tell you that a lot of the right people listen. And I get messages all the time about people listening that we may not recognize that they're an anonymous or sometimes when folks listen via their PC, you can't even tell that they're listeners. So I'm just going to tell you, people are listening, Katie. I guarantee it. And I will see if I can find some time to clip some of it and we can put it out in some short clips or something. Appreciate you.
Love you guys. Love you, Sherry. You do a great job.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Everybody that's joined us today, thank you so much. I am going to sign off and we'll be back at it tomorrow. And Aaron Baroni is going to join us. And don't forget on Thursday, Nikki Limo is going to join us as well. Don't forget to get your submissions in for that contest with the photos. Have a great day, everybody. You get a chip and you get a chip and you get a chip.